There's a lot of things you probably won't see in Disney movies, but there are 3 things in particular which are outright banned. So over the years, there's been some pretty sketchy stuff in the Disney movies, especially going back. There are a few things that would be considered very racist by today's standards, and maybe just pretty racist back then.
I mean, it was, to be fair, it was racist. It's just, it was more acceptable racism back then.
Yeah, it's casual, it's cool.
It's like, of course, it's,
Isn't it cool not to be?
It's recreational racism.
Oh,
but
boy.
the movies also tended to be darker. I mean, you had flat out, kill Robin Hood. Like that was not done with any.
Crush Snow White with a rock.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, we're going to take a bunch of these cute dogs and make coats out of them. It was very clear death would be involved.
Well, according to Pete's Dragon director, David Lowery, he recently revealed to Ain't It Cool News that there are 3 things specifically, they're named, that are banned, that are signed into every Disney director's contract. And I guess there isn't an NDA on not talking about them because he did. One of them does go back to 101 Dalmatians, but it is not trapping and skinning and killing innocent baby puppies.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's actually smoking. It's been fairly lenient. You have seen Cruella de Vil smoke one of those fancy cigarettes. I was holding it like a joint, but like on a stick. She goes, "Oh, kill the puppies."
Is that your Cruella?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's really, it's a shock that I'm not an actor. We've also seen 101 Dalmatians Ben, who is a good character, along with Peter Pan and the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. However, he was not smoking tobacco. That is for damn sure. And also Ariel even put a pipe to her mouth, though she thought it was some kind of mini saxophone and just...
Yeah, she thought it was a musical instrument.
Yeah,
like,
she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't get it. She also thought a fork was a comb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone.
Ariel, you're ignorant.
So it didn't formally ban smoking in the movies until 2015, according to Variety, and it does allow some exceptions for historical accuracy. I think even like good guy characters, besides the ones I mentioned, did smoke casually.
Right.
It's kind of funny to look back and watch like I Love Lucy.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like smoking it up like crazy. And sometimes they include this beginning intro with Lucy and Desi that says like, presented by the cigarette company, Philip Morris. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. They're great for your health. And it's funny to see.
This is just an episode full of voices from you, and I'm so happy about this. Pinocchio smoked. Pinocchio had a cigar on the sinful island getaway that he went to.
Yes, Pleasure Island.
Yes, Pleasure Island.
Yeah. Another thing that is specifically, and I don't understand why this in particular has been banned from being put in Disney films, is Impalement. However, I don't know if this was in 2015 because as you'll remember, Olaf the snowman in Frozen literally says, "Oh, I've been impaled."
But this is how you get through some exceptions. Like if a character per se isn't human or has internal organs, that's how certain video games get away with it. Actually, a while back, DC Universe Online had their video game, and I was told by one of the folks behind the scenes there was this intro video for it where Superman gets speared in the back, that was only allowed because Superman is an alien.
But if he were a man?
And if that were Batman, no, that wouldn't have been allowed.
Wow.
Yeah.
These seem so arbitrary.
They absolutely are arbitrary.
This makes no sense. I mean, when you think about like standards and practices, I was listening to some behind the scenes like Comedy Central standards and practices, and it was like, well, we can't have this because basically someone admitted, oh, it offended me when I was in school as a kid.
Right.
But now I realize it's not that offensive. I'm talking about female genitalia. Anyway, with Impalement, there's also the idea or the instance of Jack Sparrow and Barbossa both running each other through with swords, but
when
they're skeletons.
Right. Again, there's when we see them as skeletons, they have no internal organs being damaged. So that's fine.
Yeah. But perhaps the best one, I think, is Ursula the Sea Witch's death in The Little Mermaid. You'll remember she like grows really big and goes, "Mwah-ha-ha," and you get this really unflattering under the chin thing. And Prince Eric drives a boat directly into her stomach, impaling her with the boat, with a full-sized boat.
That was
Good
pretty
on you,
epic.
Prince Eric.
That was pretty epic.
That was was
he doesn't
outstanding.
even know what's happening. Doesn't really know who this is. Just like there's a big monster.
Ariel doesn't seem to like her, so
I'm gonna spear it. I'm gonna spear it.
And the last thing that is outright forbidden is beheading.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder why beheading in particular. Is it because it's so gruesome? I mean, again, Olaf the snowman also got beheaded, but he's not a real person.
He survives that. I mean, like the genie takes off his own head.
Yeah, describing, hey, Al, I can't kill anyone like this.
Yeah.
And he just does it.
Right. There's no bloodshed or organ being damaged, therefore that would be fine. But yeah, it's interesting that it would be that specific, because it's not dismemberment. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, I guess because the genie and Olaf, neither of them is a human.
And I guess if they ban dismemberment entirely, then you can't have Captain Hook ever?
Yeah, that's true. Also, Captain Hook smoked.
He definitely did.
There's a lot of things on here that it seems like they can just squeak by. And what I think the lesson we could take away is S&P is very subjective.
Yeah.
And arbitrary.
It depends on who's in the office that day. Mm-hmm. That's really whose standards you're working with.
But I think there's been a lot more dark things that are perfectly acceptable. Like if you'll remember in Tarzan, Clayton hangs himself.
Oh, that's right.
Gaston falls to his death off of a very tall house on top of a cliff.
Yeah. Why do people keep building houses on top of cliffs?
Because it's cool. But there's also,
is it? I think about this when I drive through the hills. Like, really, why are some of your houses
to
this high
look down upon your peers in contempt, which is what I would do if I were rich.
I guess. Yeah, that does seem human.
But then there's also like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, for those of us
the
who
football
aren't into,
Hunchback,
the football school movie, where it was like there's this song called Hellfire where he's singing about, well, I think I'm a good man, so it's okay if I rape or murder, and I'll just sweep it under the rug, and the church will always support me, and the powerful get everything, and the powerless get nothing. That's a terrifying song.
I miss Gargoyles. Gargoyles was good dark Disney back in the 90s.
I never watched it.
It had genocide in the first episode. Fantastic show. Fantastic show.
That is before those Disney rules were put into effect, of course. Perhaps you know of a few others. Audience, what is your favorite dark Disney moment? Please let me know below in the comments because I like this weird stuff. And please like and subscribe for much more.